Guys, I want to thank you and welcome you to HISadvocates.tv. As a precursor, tonight we're going to remain live on YouTube the full time, as we're not going to be talking about the sensitive subject matters, which to me, this seems to be the largest subject matter that you can possibly want to talk about. So I'm surprised. Hold on, can't get rid of it. These guys aren't letting it go. I'm surprised that HISadvocates.tv has gone down again. We've done a heck of a lot, including a lot of money to develop our own systems, IPs, and all that stuff to make it so that you guys could not have any issues. So whatever, we'll figure it out. I'm talking to we're on radio on Thursdays, some TV stations, going out to all the different podcast groups, and we're going to learn how to get going on all those systems. So for me, this is probably the most important thing I've ever done in my life. And I'm going to share a story with you that a lot of people, look at bridging that gap of somebody who's gone from being in a business world to somebody that's being in a world of make-believe or conspiracy. And I think for me, the reality was in 2006, 7, 8, 9, when I saw the manipulation in politics. And it makes those guys back in those days looked like angels compared to the guys today from a manipulation in politics. The flag behind me represents the Republic. It's instead of the stars filling up the blue area, they comprise the circle. We also adopted the regular flag without the corporate gold fringe. In law, you can actually find where it talks about the gold fringe, both in executive orders and so on. Basically, it's a military, martial law, wartime flag. There is no civil peace flag, the flag with the white and it hangs vertically. We couldn't find that anywhere in the law. And so we, as my experience was the mistreatment that the corporation did when I was going through and dissolving a company. And I ended up on the streets, and I ended up going through a huge amount of experiences, but I ended up meeting a group of like-minded people. I'm going to talk about one specifically for the next few minutes, and you're going to look them up online, and you're going to see a lot of negativity. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's by design. Gentleman's name is James Timothy Turner. I know him personally. I haven't talked to him in a long time because he's been sitting in a federal prison for you. And I mean that quite literally. The only thing they could go after him for was tax evasion. They went after him for bond. They went after him for fraud. They went after him for a lot of different things. But the reality was he got 20 years in a federal prison for re-inhabiting this republic because his length of sentence was extreme for somebody that didn't file a tax return. He was an absolute threat to the corporation, and I'm going to explain to you why. But I know this man personally. He's been to my house. I've had many conversations with him. He's probably one of the most godly men that I know. Has he embellished? Is he perfect? No. Was he surrounded by de facto corporate officers, both FBI, Secret Service, informants? I'm sure. At his trial, it came out to show that every single key person that was around him in his immediate group was either an informant or an agent. Now, whether that's 100% true or not, I don't know, but that's what came out at the trial. Now, it was a shock to me because I had worked really hard. First, I went to one of his seminars in 2008. looking around the room and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? It was probably the most important event of my life. And the only reason why I say that is because it was the catalyst that started me on my personal journey. And I listened to this man, James, talk about freedom and talk about the United States being a corporation, Title 28, subsection 3002. And its exclusive jurisdiction lies within the District of Columbia, UCC 9-307H. UCC 9-307H. See, the United States is not the same as the United States of America. You can find this throughout the entire federal rules of regulations. They hide it. Like if you were to go online and try to determine it, like Title 51 subsections, Title 31 subsections 51.1 and 51.2. It's describing the Secretary of the Treasury both de jure and de facto, meaning what their job title is, description is, and different elements. But if you were to go online, they hide it. So what about 20,000 people did in 2008, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is re-inhabited and sat back down in the seats that were vacated in 1861. This is not a joke. It's something that I believe in so much that I engraved the flag on the side of my ring. This is my ring that I made, my family ring. I put the flag of the Republic for the United States of America on the side because I believe in it that much. And it's not just something that I stand on a belief in. It's something that I know in law exists. We are so proud to announce the opportunity for everybody to understand what the Republic is. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the hardest things to determine for yourself, because people think that because I have a social security number, because I have a driver's license, or I have these contracts with the United States Corporation, that it doesn't infringe upon my ability to be a free American, and it absolutely does. Period. That's like going to a court and saying, Judge, please let me off. I have made no contracts with that party over there who's coming after me. And the judge says, oh, I'm sorry. Is this your signature on this DMV agreement? Is this your signature on this? And boom, you're done. You're gonna go to jail for being a party to that contract with the United States. Or you're gonna pay the dues or the judgment because you signed on a contract with that party who sued you. Your signature on those adhesion contracts or adhesion trusts is absolutely a marker showing that you wanted a subclass citizenship to the United States. And in return, you would get benefits, the ability to drive, the ability to live with protection, the ability to what have you. The reality is, for us, we are all born Americans. But there's some pretty dastardly things that these guys have done to keep this information from the free-thinking people. See, we did the job of re-inhabiting. Down below in the link on the YouTube channel, you will find an executive summary of what we've done. But we've done much more than just write an executive summary. Got to remember something. They were talking about freedom moving away from the king long before 1776. And when they made that decision of writing the Declaration, it wasn't an instantaneous transfer of power, was it? No. Was there a war of 1812? Of course. We were embattled in the Revolutionary War. We were embattled with each other. We were embattled in all kinds of things until we got fully settled, where people started accepting on a national basis we were Americans. But in the early 1800s, a corporation was formed. I've seen it in multiple cases, both state and Supreme Court level, talking about the United States Corporation. People want to think that it was incorporated in 1871. That's not, in fact, the case. I'm not 100% sure when it was incorporated. I know people can bring forward articles of incorporation for the United States, but what they did was basically create the trust indenture known as the Declaration of Independence. I'm going to explain a few things I've done before. It's very important that you guys understand what this means for you. The Declaration of Independence, right on its title, says, "These United States of America." United is an adjective. It's lowercase, describing the jurisdiction states of America. See, Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Adams, all these guys were never United States citizens. They were citizens of the respective colony or state in which they were born on or held allegiance to, period. Many of these founders weren't even born in this nation, but they held allegiance to a respective state, and that's the citizenship that they held. The Civil War was not about freeing black people. It was about state rights, so much so that they succeeded from the Union, and there was yet another war, because there's always been the thought, man, we need to control the people. There still is that thought. And when we re-inhabited in 2012, the greatest nation on the face of the earth, which never left, it was just vacated. When we re-inhabited, the FBI and all the alphabet soup agencies put us as number one. Listen to me very carefully. Number one on the domestic terrorist watch list. I could not believe what I was seeing. We can leave tanks, Humvees, helicopters, airplanes, weapons for the Taliban. But you can't call the Taliban or ISIS or Al-Qaeda or MS-13 or the different gangs in New York and Chicago and Los Angeles that are running drugs and murders, several thousand murders a year, these respective gangs. No, they're not. They're not number one on the domestic terrorist watch list. It's somebody, or it's a group of people that are simply trying to give America back its freedom. See, I said we were all born free on this nation, because that's your God-given unalienable rights. You have no constitutional rights, none. The Constitution was not designed for you. Do you benefit from it? Of course, but it's to restrain the federal government. We've gotten away. I'm going to talk to the pastors for a moment. We've gotten away from the ideology that we are self-governed. And pastors, most of you are teaching that you are governed and that you are to be obedient to Romans 13, which is written to the Romans and for the express purposes of keeping people in check by the Romans. And pastors mostly want to make it law for 8 billion people. Let's make it law for 8 billion people. Let's play that card just for 1 second, because this is an important thing that we must realize. If you're going to play that card, pastor, you got to do it in the context of who we are as a nation. In this nation, you do have United States citizens, but you don't know that. In this nation, you do have Americans or State of the Union citizens, but you don't know that. You think they're all one. And you say and preach to the public, to be a good Christian, you must pay your taxes. I'm not going to argue that point with you. I will in the future. But today, the purpose of me saying this is, in America, the law has not changed. For an American, for a state citizen, you have the right to be self-governed. And being self-governed, you have a right to give that up, to contract privately with a corporation known as the United States, to take a lesser class citizenship, which I can show you in the law of nations. It's called a subclass citizen that doesn't have all the rights of the people there. And that's what's happened. They created a corporation, and through residency, through the zip code, through your own signature, your own mark, your own penmanship, you've given up your God-given unalienable rights to be free, self-governed children of the Most High God. We have something here in this nation that is so special, so far removed from the rest of the world. They have it too, but they have tyranny over them. But they have it too. But we have something that's recognized by the rest of the world. We have something that is so special that it is a criminal international treaty law where if you violate the rights of a State of the Union citizen, if you don't take due process, if you don't watch your P's and Q's, and this is why the whole structure of the Constitution was set up, it was to restrain the District of Goddess of Death and Destruction. I said it. Columbia, that's what it means. Goddess of Death and Destruction. And don't think for a minute it hasn't behaved like that for the last 150 years. Guys, there is a reason why this nation is coming under judgment. There is a reason why the people are about to get spanked. But in his infinite wisdom, he knew the people would come out. All the people from around the world would form America. And he knew that for the first time in history, since the first days in the Bible where he was their king, it came full circle, where we, as the entire world, told him he was king once again, sovereign. Read the Declaration. I know. You're a Christian at heart and you just didn't know it. I got it. But that's what the Declaration of Independence says. You're recognizing God as king. And in turn, there is nothing between you and him, which means Romans 13, as being self-governed, it's the flip model. Let's read it. Let every soul be subject unto higher powers. Well, first off, if you know what the word powers mean, it's a higher form of liberty. Go look it up in the Greek. For there is no power but God, and the powers to be are ordained by God. Okay, guess what? Pastors, you're teaching that they are the power. In this nation, I am self-governed. The people are the power. The people. You have a constitution to restrain you from my God-given unalienable rights. And if you go against my power, if you take one step over my God-given unalienable rights, you have trampled before men and violated Romans 13. Because I am the government. You work for me. Period. And that's a real tough pill for a lot of people to swallow because they want to be a sheep. They want to be a servant so bad and tell people so many lies, to be honest. Because in this nation, with the greatest nation on the face of the earth, we have so many things that we need to respectively be thinking about for ourselves. Look at what's coming. I just did a video for the VIP members, and I published it to Brighteon, BitChute. Listen, go type HISadvocates on pretty much every social media out there, and please subscribe and follow. The only reason why I'm leaving this video up is I'm not talking about the jab. But they are taking us down off everything. Anybody that wants to tell you the truth, and it's because it's artificial intelligence and it's running algorithms and routines on videos and the words you're saying, and boom, it's gone. So I can't even talk about the things, some of the things I'd like to on some of these multimedia or social media outlets. So I'm asking you to go down below and subscribe to every single one of those, and especially hisadvocates.org and hisadvocates.tv. We're going to get the TV station right. We don't have the funds necessary that are needed to do what you guys need. But HISadvocates.tv is utilized to protect people from the censored social media. We take the videos that they're removing and we post them to both HISadvocates.tv and HISadvocates.org. So my heart for you guys is to help you to understand that we have choices here. Okay, you need to consider the Northwest Ordinance. You need to consider re-inhabiting your local counties and more and more. But what did in fact happen, which is evidenced by the national government alphabet soup agency's responses, and which is evidenced by the fact that they went after the key figures of the Republic to put them away forever, and it blew apart the Republic for, a good couple of years. There was barely a few people left after they came and terrorized and tore it apart. They are excellent guys. I want to just say something. In 2005, the NSA had over 1 million employees. I can only imagine what they have now, and I don't think the employees are as important or as something that we need to fear as artificial intelligence. And so I'm saying this because the greatest thing on the face of the earth happened in this nation. The people re-inhabited and sat back down on those seats. We are not pretending to be government. We are not operating as a government. We are holding for the people to give us orders in mass. And they do not want the people to wake up to what's going on. But the thing that I personally worry about is that people coming into Republic will be nothing more than a bunch of complaining United States citizens. You can't think that somebody else at a presidential level has the ability to make an order to declare it all adhesion contracts are no longer valid. No. You, sir, have a God-given unalienable right, and the highest form of law that you're protected by is the Constitution. And the Constitution says you have a right to private contract with anybody you want. Shall not be abridged by even the President of the United States Corporation or Republic. He has no authority over the people. You, as a self-governed man or woman, have to take the responsibility to sever the ties, to sever the trust, to sever the contracts with the United States Corporation. Why? They're coming to collect. And I don't want to get into specifics with you, but my personal opinion is you're worth more dead than you are alive. They certainly are treating us that way right now. So I would encourage you to get your mind wrapped around what is Republic for you, for your family. I would encourage you to understand, first and foremost, you cannot, will not, in any circumstance, fix the corporation known as the United States. Stop talking about it. It has no power over you or anybody else unless you've contracted and said, you have power over me. Period. One of the biggest mind blowers that I've ever had was discovering in law where the United States is. And you can't dismiss that. Another one is 1746A1, where you can take an oath of office without the United States, but with the United States of America. Another one was, just the hundreds of Supreme Court rulings that talk about state citizenship and how it's not the same or synonymous with the United States citizenship. I created a 5-hour video on Shepardized case law pertaining to that. It's called Who Are You? You can go to hisadvocates.org, type Who Are You, and you can see that 5-hour video. You can also see it on our YouTube channel, and you could also see it on our other channels that we've been recently posting. I want to encourage you to watch it, because what I just said was there's multiple jurisdictions of different classes of people that they have no jurisdiction over, right here in this nation. And we, as a fledgling little body of people, are holding the seats of the republic, the most powerful nation on the face of the earth, because we're the only one that says he's king and we are self-governed. And within the written rules of the federal rules of regulation, they can't touch the republic. But here's the interesting thing. What you maybe don't know is that the United States went into bankruptcy in 1931, 2, 3, whatever, HJR 192. Why is that important? Because you became employees of a defunct corporation in 1935, the Social Security Administrative Act. They didn't have any more collateral to bank the issues that they were having. See, the money was stolen. The wealth of the people was stolen by the banks. I don't need to argue this point. It is so evident. If you just go and look, that is the evidence. And now there's nothing left to collateralize as of 1934. So they made a new deal, called it the Social Security Administrative Act, and the people became the surety and the collateral. But there's some nuances of how they do it, and I'll do that on another show, and why they're able to do that. See, again, you have the right to private contract. You have a right to go in and be an employee of the corporation. But they weren't telling anybody that the United States was different than the United States of America. They weren't telling anybody anything. As a matter of fact, in our nation, they tricked us to thinking it was the same. And people became stockholders originally, and they were getting reports of the value that their state was producing. And now they're tricking us within the CAFR reports. Not going to get into that, but you need to go and do your research on that. This is probably the single biggest misuse of power I've ever seen in my life. And now they're standing before you and dictating to you what you are going to do. And you believe it. Maybe. I don't. I giggle. When that gray hair old fart makes a mandate or a rule, I giggle. Because it's like listening to the head of Amazon telling me I need to buy his product. Because that's all he is. He's not only restricted to being a corporation and the head of the corporation by fraud, but he's restricted to the District of Columbia. Now, don't get me wrong, under color of law, he's trying to push these mandates. Okay. They don't apply to me. They don't apply to a State of the Union citizen. As a matter of fact, we have freedoms that you guys have let go. And we want to invite you in. Yes, we need a lot of money. Yes, we need a few billionaires to step up and save this greatest nation on the face of the earth and donate. Yes, we need the people, because none of it will work unless we have a good chunk of the people and they're willing to stand and fight. See, I guarantee within the corporation, there are good men and women that are divided at the top levels, fighting each other. I guarantee there's probably wars and murders within the alphabet soup agencies that we just never hear about amongst each other, because they know what is going on. And this is why they got to move so dang quick. And this is why they're using cheating systems like social media. But it doesn't matter. God is on the throne. God wins in the end. And we have been asked to come out of that structural system, because the plagues of the sin that they have waged are on you, because you keep putting money in and supporting it and feeding the beast system. That's it, guys. I would encourage you to go to republicoftheunitedstates.org. I would encourage you to get information and look at what we did in a chain. There is a reason, and I'm not just saying this to scare you, but there is a reason why the FBI went to train every law enforcement agency across the union of this new class of people called sovereign citizens, which we are not, and tell them that the leaders of the sovereign citizens were the Republic for the United States of America. Wow. When that happened, I already knew I wasn't going to get off any list. And I actually stood proud to serve because I didn't do anything wrong by saying, I want to re-inhabit this republic. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Nobody is tied to this republic as being robbed, stolen, or murdered. But there are hundreds of millions of people that are tied to the United States that are being robbed from, stolen, or murdered by them directly. The products that they develop are those attempts. The wars that we've waged against innocents all over the world, the laws we're creating for the unborn, it's all the wages on your back because you're staying in that system. The best way to keep a business open during the next wave is to let go of your business license, come into the private, create a private membership association, and we will help you do it for free. I'll give it to you. If you're a business and you need to stay open, we will help you for free. Guys, they have no power except over corporations or United States citizens. People that pledge themselves to be a subclass citizen and contract properly. We take people through a passport process and we remove all of those contracts, but none of that, listen to me, none of that matters. Don't get me wrong. It's going to protect you and it's going to be God and you going, see, I did it. But if you don't help get off your butt and re-inhabit this republic, one systematic structure at a time, or those billionaires don't come, or those trillionaires don't come and get convicted about their money and what it's being spent on and come into the republic, I'm going to tell you right now, it will be a fight like you would never believe. But this is God's fight. And we have been doing this peacefully and continue to do this peacefully until he comes. But I don't think he's coming like you think he's coming. But I'm not going to speculate on that with you on this show. What I am going to say, guys, is we need the people to come out and to re-inhabit and lawfully, one county at a time, structure up and get ready. Because there's a lot of republics out there, but they have done it completely wrong. They want to talk about social compacts. They want to rule by force. They want to rule from the top. And they don't realize this republic is bottom up. Literally, all the states that were needed came together. And they voted once again for what they wanted. And they created a declaration of sovereign intent. And they held firm that the Bible is the Word of God. They held firm to the Declaration and the Constitution for the United States of America. And then we made a claim over this entire nation, taking back everything they stole. It was so powerful that they had to do something. They had to infiltrate us. They had to lie to us. They had to make false arrests. But guys, I'm going to tell you right now, worthy, worthy, worthy is the Lamb, because this is his republic. We belong to him. And you've done messed with the wrong people. Period. But worthy to reinstitute his form of government here on this the greatest nation on the earth, and say no more to sin, no more to tyranny. Worthy is the Lamb. And we need to speculate what exactly that means, because pastors, they are to be obedient to us. We are not to be obedient to them. Get the record straight for your parishioners, because you're teaching that wrong. And every dollar that gets put into that structural system right now is going towards things to kill people all over this world. Guys, God bless you, and thank you for listening to me. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, we do a Q&A on what we do at HISadvocates.org. I would consider that you go there and ask, because it's nothing to stand in republic under God contracted to a corporation that owns your butt. It's nothing. You have to take steps, but we need you to go to and start county by county re-inhabiting the greatest nation on the face of the earth. And there's instructions on republicoftheunitedstates.org on how to get that done. God bless you guys. Good night. Thank you for listening.